Page 24. Yes, Honorable Frank Afriye.
Speaker, still on page 23, very sorry. Item 4I. Tuesday should be, 17th July should rather be Thursday, not Tuesday. That's the committee embarked on a working visit to Ghana Police Service on the 17th.
Very well. Table of his cross-check, whether 16th or 17th, whether Tuesday or Wednesday. Page 24. 25. 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Honourable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the vote and proceedings of Wednesday, 30th July, 2025 is accordingly adopted as the true record of proceedings. Honourable members, we have two official reports. Official reports of Wednesday, 23rd July 2025 and Thursday, 24th July 2025. For corrections, honourable members, let's deal first with the official report of Wednesday, 23rd July 2025. Which I hold in my hands, is for your corrections. Any correction? Honourable members, in the absence of any correction, the official reports of Wednesday, 23rd July 2025 is hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. We now turn to official report of Thursday, 24th July 2025. It is for your correction. Honourable members, any correction? In the absence of any correction, the official report of Thursday, 24th July 2025 is hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. Yes, Majority Leader. Majority Leader, do we take the motion numbered 9 and finish up with it? Yes, motion numbered 9. Chairman of the committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Order 1041 of the Standing Orders, which requires that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given. The notice for the motion of the adoption of the report of the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation on the Environmental Protection Petroleum Regulations 2025 be moved now. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconder.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, this is a procedural motion which has been moved and seconded. The question, therefore, is as.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move Environmental Protection Regulations 2025. Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission, I present the committee's report and advise that the Hansa Department captures the entire report as having been presented. And I'll go straight and read the conclusion of the report. that having carefully examined the proposed regulations aimed at establishing clear and enforceable framework for licensing and regulating petroleum-related activities, the instrument promotes responsible operations by ensuring only qualified entities are permitted to operate while enhancing accountability and transparency in the sector. Mr. Speaker, in view of these observations, the committee accordingly recommends to the House to adopt its report and endorse the coming into force of the Environmental Protection Petroleum Regulations 2025 in accordance with Article 11.7 of the Constitution. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion move, report presented. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, motion move and seconded, and it is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any contribution? Honourable members, in the absence of any contribution, yes, Honourable Sanja.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The instruments were referred to us, and we had a consideration, we considered them, and we realized that most of the instruments were to empower and to operationalize the various acts that were passed in respective of the Environmental Protection Agency and other acts. Other acts. Thank you.
Honourable members, any further contribution, further debate? Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion and the reports are accordingly adopted. Item numbered 11. Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Order 1041 of the Standing Orders, which requires that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given. The motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation on the Public-Private Partnership Regulations be moved today. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Motion move. Any seconder?
I second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion move and seconded. This is a procedural motion. The question is, as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted. Item numbered 12, motion. Chairman of the committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move that the House, this Honourable House, adopts the report of the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation on the Public-Private Partnership Regulations 2025. Mr. Speaker, I ask the Hansa Department to capture the entire report as having been presented, whilst I go straight to the conclusion of the report. Mr. Speaker, it was the decision of the committee that the full implementation of the PPP Act depends on the timely passage of these supporting regulations. Approving these regulations will therefore ensure clarity, strengthen investor confidence, and support Ghana's infrastructure development. The committee accordingly recommends to the House to adopt its report and endorse the coming into force of the Public-Private Partnership Regulations 2025 in accordance with Article 11.7 of the 1992 Constitution. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion move, report presented. Any seconder?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded, and it is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, yes, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, the importance of the Public-Private Partnership Act cannot be overemphasized. To implement or operationalize it, the regulation is extremely necessary. The passage of these regulations, Mr. Speaker, would result in a major leap, particularly in ensuring that the financing gap of major public infrastructural projects are met. So, Mr. Speaker, very respectfully, just as the chairman of the committee, honorable chairman of the committee said, Mr. Speaker, this is going to be a major turnaround for financing within the public space, particularly our infrastructural need. And so, Mr. Speaker, I plead with the House to support this. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Sanja.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. The PPA Act, since it was passed, has not been very effective. So this bill instrument is passed to operationalize it. And in this direction, the Ministry for Finance, in collaboration with the World Bank and the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, developed these regulations purposely to operationalize the PPP Act. And if we approve these regulations, it will go a long way to enhance the compliance among collaborating authorities and other stakeholders. So we therefore urge the House to support the motion and approve the instrument. Thank you.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is asked. Many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion and the report as presented by the chairman of the committee are accordingly adopted. Now, motion numbered 13. Chairman of the committee.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. So, Speaker, I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Order 1014 of the Standing Orders, which requires that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given, the motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation on the Immigration Service Amendment Regulations 2025 be moved today. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member.
I second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded, and it is for the consideration of the House. Honourable member, yes.
Mr. Speaker, respectfully, we don't have copies. And Mr. Speaker, yesterday you made a very important observation that when you're moving, we bring you back because we come to the chamber and we read the report as it's being laid. And it's not helping, especially those of us who are new. And I've been consistent with this matter.
Honourable member, procedural motion. Do you read the report?
No, but Mr. Speaker, it's been laid.
What is the issue at stake?
Mr. Speaker.
Which motion? Which motion are we taking?
Mr. Speaker, give me the standing order. Mr. Speaker, once the report has been laid.
Which motion are we taking? Is it not motion number 13?
Mr. Speaker, the report has been duly presented and distributed about a week ago. It was even on our console. So I'll talk to my colleague to let him understand. And this
yes,
one was
but
even
at the end of the day, let's get the process right. When a motion, a procedural motion, is moved, no report is required. So why would you be demanding a report
Speaker,
at the time that we are taking a procedural motion?
Mr. Speaker, my colleague was seeking clarification, so I'll engage him so we can proceed.
Honourable members, this is a procedural motion. The question is, as many as are in favor of the motion number 13, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Now the substantive motion.
Thank you very much.
Number 14.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation on the Immigration Service Amendment Regulations 2025. And I'll entreat the Hansa Department to capture the entire report as having been read, whilst I read the conclusion and recommendations of the committee. Mr. Speaker, the committee acknowledges that the enactment of the Immigration Service Amendment Regulations 2025 is essential to promote morale of staff and ensure the financial security for officers of the Ghana Immigration Service after retirement. The amendments to the Immigration Service Regulations 2016 will mark a significant step towards enhancing the welfare of retirees of the service, thereby serving as a motivational measure for officers in active service, Mr. Speaker. The committee accordingly recommends to the House to adopt its report and endorse the coming into force the Immigration Service Amendment Regulations 2025 in accordance with Article 11.7 of the Constitution. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Jerry Ahmed.
Speaker, I second the motion.
Honorable members, motion moved and seconded, and it is for the consideration of the House. Yes, Honorable Sosu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to speak in favor of the motion ably moved by the chairman of the committee, and to add that this regulation is indeed long overdue. Mr. Speaker, at the deliberation stage, it came out so clearly that the non-passage of this regulation has led to a number of tension situations among the immigration service, and that resolving this matter through the passage of this regulation was going to definitely increase both the effectiveness, the confidence, and efficiency of workers in the immigration service. So, Mr. Speaker, I pray that this House adopt and support this motion ably moved by the chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Yes, Speaker, I rise to contribute to support the motion that has just been ably moved by Honorable Patrick Brown.
Yes, take note. Next time, at the time that you are seconding the motion, after seconding the motion, then you make your contribution.
Very well.
But go ahead.
Very well guided, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the immigration officers around Ghana have been very supportive in ensuring that our borders are safe. Sometimes they do take this, they do their job at the peril of their lives. If you come to my constituency, Wejagbawe, the commander there, I anticipate may be going on retirement soon. Such a person should have some security of tenure and to be thinking of his welfare after service. That is why I commend the committee for taking into consideration issues that border on their gratuities and after work or their pension entitlements. So, Speaker, I want to say that this is a good move. It's a step that is in the right direction, and we commend the committee members and the House. Thank you very much, Speaker, for this opportunity.
Honourable members, any further contribution? For the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion and the reports presented to the committee are accordingly adopted. Yes, Majority Leader. Do we now come back to item number 8?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Item number 8, motion. It's now the turn of yes. Honorable Habib.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know that this morning the majority leader have been rehearsing his notes for this all-important closing of the debate on the mid-year budget. And I want to encourage colleagues that we should be very quiet and listen to our leaders in silence, as they have 45 minutes each to deliver or conclude on the message. Majority leader, I said 45 minutes because the business committee report that was adopted had it 45 minutes, and it was 45 minutes that was approved. So I just want to urge colleagues, we on this side will be quiet to listen to both leaders, and I'll urge that my colleagues, let's all be quiet and listen to our leaders in silence, because your majority leader have been reading since last night until this morning, and he continued to read. So this morning I was with him even before conclave, and I saw that he was reading. The papers were more than 100,000 that he was reading. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, this is a very legitimate concern. Our leaders are coming to conclude the debate on the mid-year review. I will urge both sides to listen to the leaders in silence. Failure to do that, honorable members, the rules strictly would apply. I will proceed to give the floor to the Honorable Minority Leader, Togbe Osahin Alexander Kwamina Apenyomakin. You have 45 minutes. The floor is now yours. Honourable members, order.
Mr. Speaker, when you addressed me, Togbi, you reminded me of my grandpa. You know, when we were young in Nyokonope, he had this song. It just struck me. I don't know whether you remember that song. Nyong lonely mele jata, jata nela wo fiade. Nyelawo lawo side, o ma loho, o ma loho, o ma loho, o ma lohe, o ma loho. Nyong lolin male jeta, jeta nyelawo fiade, nyelawo lawo side, o ma loho. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, Honorable Majority Leader, today is our turn, the minority, to conclude our side of the debate and I rise to fulfill two solemn duties. First, to expose the glaring falsehoods in Honorable Atuforsen's spreadsheet, a document riddled with misleading figures designed to obscure the truth. Second, to give voice to the millions of Ghanaians who have been betrayed by broken promises and abandoned dreams. 7 months ago, this government pledged a new beginning, a reset for our nation. Yet what have the people received? Not renewal, but ruin. Not progress, but economic wreckage, dressed in empty rhetoric. And so, Mr. Speaker, I stand here to speak the truth to power, to a government that has lost its moral compass, deserted its commitments, and systematically broken the trust of 33 million citizens. The evidence is undeniable, and this is not merely a government in crisis. It is a government in collapse because it is not facing the truth. Mr. Speaker, the mid-year budget review before us reads like a confession of failure. As my colleagues before me have copiously pointed out, behind every projection lies a story of incompetence. Behind every statistics, we find reality of a nation bleeding from self-inflicted wounds. Mr. Speaker, while the Bank of Ghana announces fairly tale exchange rates, businesses desperate for foreign currency cannot access a single dollar from our banking system. They are forced into the shadows of black markets where reality bears no resemblance to government fiction. This artificial exchange rate manipulation has crippled legitimate importers, destroyed business confidence, and turned our economy into a house of cards. The minister proudly reports custom revenue shortfall of 1.6 billion, blaming smuggling. But Mr. Speaker, you cannot collect revenue on goods that are never imported because businesses cannot access foreign exchange to finance legitimate trade. This government has created an economic environment where legal commerce becomes impossible while illegal activities flourish. Perhaps the most damning indictment lies in their own projections. They say they are competent. This government inherited an economy growing at 5.7% and now projects 4% growth. How does competence deliver the 1.7 percentage point decline? How does change deliver this regression? Mr. Speaker, when a government inherits economic momentum and kills it in 7 months, you have not just failed, you have sabotaged the future of the country. When the minister declares, quote, "I am not asking for additional money," unquote, he confesses that the government has no ideas, no vision, no capacity to accelerate growth. They are undertakers disguised as economists, managing Ghana's economic funeral while calling it fiscal policy. Mr. Speaker, let me remind this House of what Ghana once had and what these self-proclaimed apostles of reset have systematically destroyed. We built robust diplomatic relations with strategic partners at the United States, strengthening Ghana's position in the global market. The apostles of reset have assassinated these partnerships with reckless, undiplomatic utterances that are gradually making Ghana a pariah in international circles. We initiated a transformational 1D1F to create jobs, to boost local production across every corner of Ghana. The apostles of reset have murdered this industrial revolution and condemned these initiatives to economic stagnation. We launched the Agenda 111 hospitals to heal our people and create a foundation for medical tourism. The apostles of reset have killed this health infrastructure expansion, leaving communities without hope for quality health care. Mr. Speaker, we pioneered planting for food and jobs to feed our people, to ensure food security and create agricultural wealth. The so-called apostles of reset have slaughtered these agricultural transformation, leaving farmers abandoned and food security compromised. All they know is the gold board to promote galamsey. And it came without doubt that on May Day, organized labor, without relenting, boldly confronted this issue and questioned the government's commitment in dealing with galamsey. Organized labor, speaking through its Secretary General, said that Galamsey within the first 5 months of the NDC administration has worsened. The NDC has not questioned. Mr. Speaker, recently we had the Catholic Bishops' Conference also coming out with a strongly worded statement pointing to the worsening Galamsey situation, all because the government has now legitimatized the Galamsey menace, and Gold Board is now buying and encouraging people to pursue Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, without doubt, we also establish rigorous prosecution to recover stolen national resources and reinvest recovered funds into national development. Today, what do we see? The government is now using nolle prosequa to protect its financiers, and they are rather persecuting NDC MPP appointees. Mr. Speaker, with 30% of youth unemployed, this government has allocated only 0.5 billion to create jobs, a pittance that insults 3 million unemployed young Ghanaians. When young people have no stake in the legitimacy of the economy, they become recruits for criminal gangs and illegal mining operations. There is a direct correlation between this government failure to create jobs and the unprecedented insecurity plaguing our nation. Every unemployed youth represents not just wasted potential, but a security threat born of economic neglect. Mr. Speaker, over 1,500 Ghanaians, the reports have it, have perished on our roads since January to date. The Kumasi Highway has become a graveyard because this government refuses to pay contractors. Mr. Speaker, even ministries, their allocations have not been released. How much more contractors? None of the ministers can boldly say on record that he or she has received releases. Mr. Speaker, every pothole represents lost productivity. Every death on our highways bears this government fingerprint. The contractors must be paid and paid now. Mr. Speaker, perhaps let me remind the NDC that long before they assumed office in 2009, and long after they had lost power in 2000, the 8 years of the Kufuor administration established the following social intervention programs that are still part of the governance of the country. These were the legacies of President John Agyekum Kufuor. 1, the school feeding. 2, the capitation grant. 3, the NHIS that the NDC shamelessly boycotted the passage of the law. 4, the LEAP. 5, free maternal care and free busing for pupils, and established the Metro Mass Transit System, which became known as the Kufuor Bus. Mr. Speaker, today we see the NDC 7 months in office. They have not come out with any productive social intervention program to give hope to the Ghanaian people. We therefore demand that they restore economic sanity through transparent foreign exchange auctions, expand the gold for oil reserve program, eliminate artificial exchange rate manipulation. We also demand of them, through their trade ministry, that they should reinstate the 1D1F program to create opportunity for businesses. The Agenda 111 hospitals, they have to continue to let these hospitals be completed. And again, instead of relying on Galamsey activity as a way of growing the economy, they should restore agricultural transformation. Mr. Speaker, government must also strengthen diplomatic relations with strategic partners, restore impartial justice, pay contractors promptly, and create safe environment for business and investment. Mr. Speaker, I need to repeat here, illegal mining is going on and it's affecting our nation. The time has come for this government to rise to the occasion and walk the talk and protect our environment. Mr. Speaker, we, the minority, have a duty to set the record straight, and we will systematically dismantle the misleading claims and omissions in the minister's presentation. Using facts and historical context, we will demonstrate how many of the touted achievements in the last 6 months are either continuation of the policies laid down by the previous NPP administration or simply unearned credit claimed by the new government. We cannot allow false narrative to take root. Ghanaians deserve the truth about our fiscal health, inflation trends, currency stability, employment situation, social programs, debt management, and taxation policies. I need to remind them that upon assuming office, a directive was issued by the Chief of Staff, which directive led to thousands of jobs being lost. Many Ghanaian youth who had been employed were sacked, and an attempt to raise the matter on this House floor was resisted by the majority. Mr. Speaker, let us be clear. The story of Ghana from 2017 to 2024 was one of significant progress. And though tough decisions had to be taken amidst global and domestic challenges, we all saw that within half a year, this NDC, blaming the MPP for all economic woes, yet taking credit for the groundwork laid before. Mr. Speaker, we will address major claim in 10, exposing again the inconsistency, highlighting the true drivers of Ghana's recent economic development. Mr. Speaker, the mid-year review attempt to paint the former MPP government as fiscally reckless, citing, quote, balloon deficit, unquote, arrears of 6 billion in unpaid bills and 194 billion in contract commitment. Yet, yes, Ghana's deficit did spike in 2020, we admit, but context matters. Context matters. A global pandemic forced emergency expenditures and a banking sector cleanup to protect millions of depositors. These were extraordinary interventions, not wanton profligacy. If that money that today you claim is 60-40 had not been pursued, where would Ghana be? You mess up the economy, you mess up the banking sector. The billions that went to your financiers that you couldn't take steps to protect. Today, you claim that we messed the economy. The evidence is there, and you've exposed yourself. 60-40 is what you are called on the streets of Accra. 60-40. 60-40 is your new name. 60-40. Give me 60, take 40. That is your new name. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the MPP government reduced the deficit sharply upon taking office from 9.3% of GDP in 2016 down to about 6% in 2017 and kept it near 5% through 2019. The 2020 deficit of 17% of GDP was a one-off crisis response mirrored worldwide, which saved lives and jobs. It is disingenuous for the finance minister to label that life-saving effort as reckless spending. Let us also correct the record on Ghana's public debt and the claim of alleged insolvency. It is true that debt to GDP rose under MPP, no doubt, we admit, from 56% in 2016 to around 80% in 2022. But what drove these? We inherited significant legacy costs, such as the energy sector debt, from their take or pay. They didn't analyze the contract, they didn't scrutinize, and they signed a take or pay contract and left it for a new government to inherit. These power contracts that were signed under the previous administration hit the economy, and it was a drain on public purse. I challenge them to rise to rebut this. We also weathered the external shocks. COVID-19 borrowing to cushion the economy and steep steady depreciation as global investors pulled back, and they know that. Crucially, we put those borrowed funds into productive use, investing in infrastructure, education. They left their e-blocks, we completed them. Industry and social programs that benefit Ghanaians today. If the state's finances were strained, it was in the course of building for the future and cleaning up of the mess, not to wanton waste. Moreover, Mr. Speaker, we took responsibility for tough reforms to address debt issue. We initiated the IMF-supported recovery program in 2022 and undertook a painful domestic debt exchange program. Mr. Speaker, they lambasted us on this. We paid a high price. We are in opposition. But today, that painful decision that came at a cost to us is what you are relying on to build the economy. Can you deny that? Mr. Speaker, the finance minister boasted that our debt to GDP ratio is at a 5-year low and that the public debt dropped by 113.7 billion in 6 months. Mr. Speaker, this is very misleading. The reality, however, is that no significant amount of debt has been paid off by this government. The statistical drop in debt ratio is largely due to the debt cancellation and restructuring achieved under the previous government, combined with the cedi's appreciation effect. We asked the minister, exactly how much of Ghana's public debt has this government repaid to claim credit for the reduction? The answer is inconvenient, virtually none. Ghana's debt improved because the MPP did the heavy lifting, including a historic external debt operation that achieved $5 billion outright debt forgiveness and 4.7 billion in debt service savings. That is real debt reduction. The current administration merely stepped into an improving situation which was engineered by its predecessors. Mr. Speaker, to further buttress this point, let us recall that under MPP stewardship, Ghana never defaulted on external debt until 2022 crisis hit at the tail end of our term. We consistently met debt service obligations until an unprecedented combination of events forced a brief halt. Even then, MPP swiftly devised solution, the Energy Sector Levy Act, to systematically pay down energy liability, fiscal responsibility law, capping deficit at 5% of GDP to instill discipline, and the debt exchange to restore sustainability. These are actions of responsible government, and we are proud we took such decisions, not a reckless one. The media review blasts our administration for high debt, but conveniently omit that by end 2024, Ghana's debt to GDP had actually fallen to about 70.5%. This decline was the fruit of the painful haircut and fiscal adjustment we undertook to reset the economy. Again, we take responsibility. We say sorry to Ghanaians. We had to take a painful decision to implement this, but you are taking advantage of these painful decisions without giving credit to us. Who is hypocrite in this matter? You are the one found wanting, and indeed, you are the political naysayers. You engage in double standard, and you are engaged in political hypocrisy. In short, the MPP cleaned up a grave situation, and now the new administration touts the cleaner floor as if it were their own accomplishment. What have you put in place? None. Mr. Speaker, let us address the narrative of wasteful spending under the NPP. The minister derided the former government's expenditure as waste, yet we recall vividly that in 2020, the same NDC was loud, calling for a greater expenditure on COVID-related activities to alleviate hardship. They said so in this very chamber. They talk of debt unsustainability today, but their solution so far has been to go back to the IMF and rely on new borrowing under stricter conditions. The truth is that the MPP invested in Ghana's future. We rolled out transformational policies like the free SHS, built roads, 13,000 kilometers of roads. Mr. Speaker, for emphasis. Mr. Speaker, for emphasis. We introduced transformational policies to build the human resource capacity of our youth, such as the free SHS. Why are you quiet? We built 13,000 roads across the country and initiated the 1D1F to stimulate economic growth. Mr. Speaker, those investments are yielding dividends for our people. Meanwhile, the current government enjoys an IMF lifeline and fiscal space created by MPP's difficult reforms. They should be thanking the previous administration and not lambasting it. Mr. Speaker, the finance minister boasts that inflation has plunged from 23.8% in December 2024 to 13.7% by June 2025, implying some miraculous stabilization by the new administration. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's inflation story requires a longer lens. Yes, inflation is down from its peak, and that is good news for everyone. But we must remember why inflation spiked in the first place and how this trend was already reversing before January 2025. The reality check is that, Mr. Speaker, Ghana's inflation soared in 2022, peaked at over 50% year on year by December 2022, the highest in 22 years. This was not because of domestic fiscal indiscipline. It was largely imported pain, global supply shocks, COVID-induced supply chain disruptions, a surge in international oil prices, and the Russia-Ukraine war impact on food and fuel. Mr. Speaker, if this claim by us, and will not shift, if this claim by us is unacceptable to our colleagues who are now in government, then I ask, why did President John Dramani Mahama recently say that the situation in Middle East would have effect on the economy? Therefore, he is inviting the finance minister and the energy minister to sit together to review certain government policies. If international shocks have no effect, why did the president complain that the Middle East crisis is having an effect on the economy? What a shame. Mr. Speaker, we saw transport fares up, we saw the price of imported foods going up, and stable prices surged worldwide. Ghana, being a small open economy, could not escape this wave. Mr. Speaker, the minister's own figure of 23.8% in December 2024 reflect this progress. To put this in perspective, pre-crisis inflation under MPP was lowest in decades. We ended 2019 at just 7.9% inflation, well within single digits. So while 13.7% in June 2025 is certainly much improved from the height of 2022, which we admit, it is not some unprecedented for a 4-year low, as the minister suggests. In fact, it is higher than what we achieved in normal times before the global crisis. And what has changed in 2025? The sharp disinflation is the first half of 2025. It's largely a continuation of the trend that MPP set in motion under the IMF program and our economic recovery policies. With stable fuel prices globally and the cedi regaining some strength, prices of imported goods began to ease. The minister himself admits that the recent inflation drop, quote, is not by chance or sheer luck, unquote. Indeed, this was by design of policies that began under the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government. Mr. Speaker, it was MPP that negotiated the IMF support package, which restored investor confidence and unlocked funding. It was MPP that started the Gold for Oil program to moderate fuel prices, and it was MPP's fiscal adjustment that reined in excess liquidity. But to claim, so credit, or trumpet it as a vindication of 6-month work is premature. Ghana's inflation was already coming down, and the global condition provided a tailwind. There has been no bold new anti-inflation strategy from the current government beyond sticking with the IMF guided path set earlier. let us also recall that Ghana's longer inflation history for this House. Mr. Speaker, under the previous NDC government, that is 2012 to 2016, inflation was often run in mid-teens and even surpassed 17%. At one point, Ghana faced hyperinflationary pressures. Indeed, going back further, we had over 40% inflation in 2000 and had to redominate the cedi in 2007 due to cumulative high inflation eroding the currency's value. In the year 2000, the government in power was your party. It was NDC, and you took us to a 40% inflation. Now, those storms are passing. Inflation is naturally receding. The NDC cannot credibly claim to have fixed the inflation in 6 months, when the truth is that in Ghana was already healing. We caution that the 13% inflation is still higher than our pre-crisis norm. There is more work ahead to bring it fully into single-digit target band. That work requires consistency, prudence, not celebratory laps after just half a year. I urge the finance minister, release monies to your ministers. Your ministers are idle. Your ministers are not working. Release their allocations to them. Pay their contractors. Mr. Speaker, the media review makes much of the Ghanaian cedi performance, with the minister jubilantly declaring cedi no apeke. He even claimed the recent cedi appreciation has never happened in the history of the country. Mr. Speaker, let's analyze this carefully. It is true that in the first part of 2025, the cedi strengthened against major currencies, an undoubtedly positive development, and we admit. But what are the underlying causes, and is this sustainable, I ask? First, context of 2022 must be highlighted. Yes, the cedi was one of the world's worst performing currencies that year, depreciating steeply, at one point losing over half of its value. It's a matter of public record. But again, this does not occur in isolation. I dare argue. In 2022, virtually all emerging economies fell short sharply against a surging US dollar. Emerging economies and their currencies fell short of the US dollar. Several Federal Reserve aggressive rate hikes made the dollar strong in decades. As I've already mentioned, the Ukraine conflict drove oil and commodity import costs up, sucking foreign exchange out of countries like ours. Ghana also faced a momentary loss of investor confidence before the IMF deal, which hurt forex inflows. In short, the 2022 was a storm for the cedi, and I concede. But I dare argue that despite all of this, the MPP government stabilized the cedi in 2023. After reaching its weakest point in late 2022, the cedi slide was arrested and partially reversed. The key was restoring confidence, securing the IMF agreement in 2023, commencing the debt restructuring, which signaled to markets that Ghana was addressing its debt and innovative policies like the gold for oil, where we battered gold for oil for fuel to reduce forex demand. By end 2024, the cedi depreciation has slowed dramatically. It was down only by 19% year on year against the dollar, a marked improvement from the free for all earlier. So when the new government took over the reins of affairs in January 2025, they inherited a stabilizing currency, not a perpetually dwindling one. Mr. Speaker, the cedi depreciation, now the cedi's appreciation in 2025. Indeed, from January through to June, the cedi strengthened significantly, with the minister tout as unprecedented. We do welcome a stronger cedi. We on this side welcome a stronger cedi. It eases the burden on import costs and brings some price relief to Ghanaians. However, claiming this as a proof of some unique NDC progress is misleading. Several factors have contributed to the cedi's rise, and they are not purely the result of fresh political genius. A major factor is renewed investor confidence and inflows on the back of the IMF program and improved fiscal outlook, a trajectory set in motion last year. Another factor is Ghana's record high gold exports and remittances in late 2024. Mr. Speaker, let me remind the NDC, whereas they have denied the successes of MPP in laying the foundation, they have quietly indicated that in their report to the IMF. That is why recently the IMF exposed you, that you have acknowledged that the stability you find today is as a result of the foundation laid by the Akufo-Addo government. Why did you refuse to acknowledge it in the dispatch box, but wrote a letter to the IMF to admit this? Mr. Speaker, these inflows from the IMF shored up our reserves. By end 2024, Ghana's gross international reserves stood at $8.9 billion, a healthy buffer well ahead of IMF targets. The minister in mid-year review proudly announces that reserves have further risen to $11.212 billion by June 2025. What he failed to clarify was that the $8.9 billion of that was inherited from the previous administration's efforts. The new addition in the first half of 2025 was just about $2.2 billion. Significant, yes, but not miraculous, given favorable trade winds and carryover programs. Crucially, Mr. Speaker, the Bank of Ghana's heavy intervention in the forest market has played an unsustainable role in propping up the city. And this the IMF has pointed out. This the IMF has pointed out. Yet you are quiet. Despite earlier denial, it took the IMF to reveal that the first quarter of 2025 alone, the BOG injected $1.4 billion of reserves into the market to support the city. Have you told Ghanaians this? Was this included in your media report? This kind of artificial support, effectively using scarce reserves to boost the city, can only be a short-term strategy. Indeed, the IMF has cautioned our government about the sustainability of this approach, urging that we reduce BOG's footprint and allow greater exchange rate flexibility going forward. On the ground, many importers and businesses will tell you a sobering truth. While the official interbank rate has shown a strong cedi, dollars have become scarce in the open market. A wide arbitrage has emerged. The cedi appears stronger on paper, but it is difficult for businesses to actually obtain forex at those rates. As one of my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, aptly put it, cedi no apeke, but Abochi has a dollar. The point is that the real economic strength comes from a currency's purchasing power, not just the exchange rate on a given day. This government must hear this. Mr. Speaker, in contrast, consider the currency stability under the MPP's first term. That's 2017 to 2019. During the period, the city's annual depreciation averaged around 8 to 10%. A remarkably stable performance compared to the 18 to 30% annual slides seen in the previous NDC era of 2022, 2012 to 2016. There were even stretches where the cedi was one of Africa's more stable currencies under Akufo-Addo's administration. We achieved this through disciplined fiscal management and innovative schemes like forward forex auctions and improved exports. It was only when external crisis hit that the cedi wobbled, and when they did, MPP was innovative. Mr. Speaker, now let me turn to their so-called 24-hour economy. They claim that they have introduced something they call 24-hour economy. They've touted it as a transformational plan to run Ghana's economy around the clock, spanning 8 pillars from Grow 24 to Connect 24. On paper, It promises 1.7 million jobs in 4 years and a productivity reboot. However, Mr. Speaker, this rhetoric of a nation that Ghana never sleeps collides with Ghana's own on-ground realities. Few African cities truly operate 24/7, and Accra is nowhere near a New York or Dubai. What we expect is for the government to make investment in the private sector, but there are no such signs. All they know is to focus in promoting galamsey. Tripling daily operating hours in key sectors sounds impressive, but visibility is questionable. Ghana's economy cannot be willed into 24-hour cycle by slogan. It requires concrete capacity that currently seems lacking. There is a lack that this grand vision remains largely rhetorical, with little change on the factory floor or the farm gate beyond normal business hours. A glaring weakness of this 24-hour economy program is its heavy reliance on financing that may never fully materialize. The initiative cost is pegged at around $4 billion. Yet government is only committing $300 to $400 million as seed capital. The rest is expected from the private sector, a lofty assumption in Ghana's current climate. But I dare ask, what are the incentives for the private sector? A situation where instead of creating jobs, you are sacking our youth from having their jobs. Then you say you are creating jobs. What foundation are you mounting this vision on? Mr. Speaker, this country must not be subjected to PR gimmicks and political rhetorics. We want action, and the NDC must know that the clock is ticking. We do not have time. Your 4 years, almost 7 months gone. Time is not on your side. Do something before the people boot you out. Mr. Speaker, even if money is found, implementation bottlenecks abound. A 24-hour economy needs reliable 24-hour power supply. Do we have a reliable power supply? Since you came, doomsday is what we see. The minority has suggested to this government that pursue reforms at ECG. Reforms were started. Pursue, and we will support you. What you are instead doing is coming out with new levies, because that is a convenient way. We want to tell you that if you are serious about this 24-hour economy, your duty is to undertake reforms and focus on agriculture. What you are doing will take you nowhere. You cannot continue to impose levies. At ECG, you started with 14% and then ended with another 2.7%. Then you came with another doomsday levy, all in an attempt to resolve the crisis. Yet, the key thing to pursue, which is a reform, you have abandoned it. Are you serious, or you are still in rhetorics? Mr. Speaker, now they claim a certain big push, and they have selected certain roads that they claim that these roads will be constructed. Mr. Speaker, we wish them well. However uneven we found these to be, at least we want to give you the chance. Let's see how you roll them out in the next 6 months. Mr. Speaker, we call on the NDC to acknowledge the investment that were made in the educational sector. Happily, Dr. Educhum is in this chamber. The investment made by he and Matthew Opoku Prempeh as sector ministers. Mr. Speaker, in the education ministry, not only did we roll out the free SHS, we also, Mr. Speaker, came up with a TVET, make sure that the TVET was free, and also introduced a STEM program. Mr. Speaker, you may have to. Mr. Speaker, today.
Honourable member, just address the chair.
Very well. Mr. Speaker, to date, over 3.1 million Ghanaian students have benefited from the free SHS. They've gained access to education, a thing that many Ghanaian youth never dreamed of. Mr. Speaker, the NPP must be commended. Mr. Speaker, we would want to conclude by urging the NDC. You have an opportunity to govern. Focus on governance. Create a Ghana that is an opportunity for all. Stop hounding the Chief Justice. Stop politicizing the judiciary. Focus on a Ghana that will be attractive for all. Focus on a Ghana that all of us will be proud to be citizens of. Do not think that the power you have will last forever. The power you have is left with 3.5 years. Mr. Speaker, we have had our chance. We've made our mistakes. We have come out, we've chalked successes. And we admit that we couldn't have been perfect. But the expectation is that you who said you could do it better can do it better for all to see. Mr. Speaker, that said, and without more, I would want to thank you for the opportunity granted me. And may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Honorable Minority Leader, thank you. Thank you very much for your concluding remark. Honorable members, before giving the floor to the Majority Leader, kindly indulge me to acknowledge the presence of visitors at the public gallery. First on the list is Philomena Tete, Mr. Keane, Daniel Tete, Samuel Tete. They are from Brussels, Belgium, all the way coming to our parliament to witness our proceedings. Then we also have Cyril Keane Tete and Curtis Keane Tete. They are also from France. Then I have my own classmate, Lieutenant Colonel Corbier Esquire. He's also in our midst. I will then proceed to give the floor to Honorable Majority Leader for his concluding remark. You also have 45 minutes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And let me also thank my colleague, the Minority Leader, for his remarks on the mid-year budget, mid-year review of the budget statement that was presented to this House. The motion before this House is that this Honorable House approves the mid-year review of the budget statement and economic policy of the Government of Ghana for the 2025 financial year. Mr. Speaker, I have spent some time in the chamber and listened to the debate by colleagues on both sides of the aisle, and I must say that I have been impressed by the industry and the research that especially our new entrants to the chamber have put into their preparation for the debate. I highly commend our first-timers and their contributions. Mr. Speaker, We have just listened to my colleague, the minority leader, and I think that as he spoke, I recalled our days in this chamber with he and Chairman Sabonsu as majority leaders. Indeed, the beginning and the end of Ghana's economic problems was in Ukraine. I'm tempted to believe that the NPP as a party and a government has benefited more from the Ukraine war than even the Russians who started it. I won't be surprised if Ukraine sues NPP, because the NPP has overexploited the war. Mr. Speaker, as I listened to the minority leader, I recall vividly sitting on this side and over 88 members of parliament on the MPP side in government petitioning and indeed threatening to leave this house because they wanted their very failed finance minister dismissed. Their finance minister had performed so abysmally that over 88 of them marshaled their numbers and wanted the finance minister deposed. And I'm surprised today to hear the minority leader attempt to obliterate that record from our history. I hereby remind you. Which finance minister? You are boasting of social intervention programs. Ken Ofori-Atta capped every single social intervention fund in this country. Get Fund was capped. Common Fund was capped. NHIA was capped. Every social intervention was capped. Road Fund was capped. Mr. Speaker, it is not a question of who started a social intervention program. The question is who most efficiently ran a social intervention program. And I can say with pride and confidence that since assuming office, John Dramani Mahama and his Minister of Finance have demonstrated greater commitment to social intervention than anybody has ever done. We have uncapped Get Fund. We have uncapped Common Fund. We have uncapped NHIA Fund. And we have not only uncapped them, but since assuming office, we have been up to date in payments and none of those funds have been deprived of any funds. That is how to demonstrate commitment to social intervention funds. Not to start them, but to sustain them and to execute them to the letter of the laws that establish them. Mr. Speaker, I almost laughed and fell from my chair when he mentioned that President Akufo-Addo constructed 13,000 kilometers of roads. 13,000 kilometers of roads. 13,000 kilometers of roads. Mr. Speaker, that has been clearly debunked. And I want to tell my friend, the minority leader, that no matter how many times you tell a lie, it still remains a lie. There's no number of repetition of a lie that will transform it into a truth. And Ghanaians know that their roads were not done under the NPP. Mr. Speaker, I think that I want to quote the Deputy Managing Director of the IMF, Bo Lee, recently, to give a clear indication of how the NDC government is viewed, not just by those of us on this side of the House, but by people as far away as Washington. Mr. Speaker, the IMF Deputy Managing Director, Bo Lee, issued a statement and said, faced with large policy slippages and reform delays at the end of 2024, the new administration has taken bold corrective actions. Please listen. Please listen. This is the IMF speaking. This is not the majority leader. This is not Atuforsen. This is not John Dramani Mahama. This is Bo Lee. He says, faced with large policy slippages and reform delays at end 2024, the new administration, that is the administration of President John Dramani Mahama, the new administration has taken bold corrective actions to maintain the program on track. So even the IMF program that you began, you delayed in the implementation of the measures because you were afraid of the 2024 December elections. So there were slippages, there were delays, all the measures that you were supposed to implement, you did not implement them for fear that implementing them may cost you an election that you actually lost in the end. So this is what he said. Combined with ongoing reform efforts and an improved external position, the corrective measures are set to support Ghana in reaching the goals of economic stabilization, rebuilding resilience, and fostering higher and more inclusive growth. The authorities are strongly committed to restoring fiscal discipline and addressing the structural weaknesses that led to the slippages. They have passed a 2024-2025 budget consistent with the program's objectives and enacted and enhanced fiscal responsibility frameworks. Looking ahead, staying in the course of fiscal adjustments and completing the debt restructuring are key to ensure fiscal sustainability. Mr. Speaker, so it is not just the minister, but the IMF have given a clear indication that the measures we have put in place are the right measures. Mr. Speaker, it is not just the IMF. The various credit rating agencies, Fitch, and all of them have given a clear indication that Ghana is on the right path. Ghana's economic reform efforts have received a major boost as global rating agency Fitch upgraded the country's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating, IDR, from restricted default to B- with a stable outlook. And that is not just Fitch. All the others have given us a very positive rating. Mr. Speaker, civil society groups, everybody knows Imani Ghana. Everybody knows that they are a very impartial organization. When it is A, they say it is A. When it is B, they say it is B. After the Minister for Finance delivers his mid-year review to this Parliament, the President of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, clearly threw his support behind the Finance Minister and the policy measures that he has been implementing. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the media review, you will take 10 key points. The media review does not request for extra funds. We're not asking for extra funds. An approval is requested, but the approval is simply based on the fact that there is some multi-year expenditure item and Section 33 of our PFM Act indicates that it has to receive parliamentary approval. Mr. Speaker, very good news reported in the mid-year report. Public debt dropped by 113.7 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, the MPP left us with a debt exceeding 726.7 billion Ghana cedis. 726.7 billion cedis. Mr. Speaker, within 5 months of becoming the finance minister, Atuforsen was able to drop this debt up to 113.7 billion Ghana cedis. This is clearly unprecedented. Somebody says that, where did he get the money from? That it is exchange rate. It takes intelligence to know that you can use exchange rate to pay your debts. It takes wizardry, economic wizardry, to know that you can use exchange rate alone to pay a lot of your debt. Why didn't Ofori-Atta use exchange rate to pay the debt? Why didn't Ofori-Atta use exchange rate to pay the debt? Why didn't he? Mr. Speaker, another key point that we take from the media review is that we are going to approach our infrastructure development more intentionally than we have done in the past. So the 55 major stalled infrastructure projects, we will not pursue all of them at once, because if we spread ourselves thinly, given our debt obligations, we might not be able to make significant progress. And so the minister has decided to concentrate on a few of them. Mr. Speaker, the minister is also following up to ensure that we clean the public sector payroll. And he has reported to us that he has conducted a payroll audit. And so far, what the audit reveals is that we have 150 million Ghana cedis in unearned salaries identified. 150 million Ghana cedis in unearned salaries. This highlights the level of corruption that has pervaded our public sector. That we cannot verify 14,000 workers, and that 53,311 separated staff are still drawing salaries. So 53,311 staff who have left the public service, separated, are still earning salaries from government, whilst we cannot verify 14,000 workers. So in all, 450 million Ghana cedis is going as unearned salaries. Mr. Speaker, another major thing that the minister has indicated in the mid-year review is that the sinking fund is going to be populated with funds again. Indeed, I recall when the minister stated that he was going to begin to put US dollars in our foreign accounts and Ghana cedis in our local currency accounts, a colleague minister, a minister of state shouted, why is he going to do that? All the time when we come, we build these funds, and the day we leave office, and people will come and squander all the funds. Squander all the funds. Why is he going to build another fund again? So the MPP will come in future and come and squander all the funds. When the finance minister, when I turned to the minister and I told him that I'm very sure that for a very long time the MPP will not come. Mr. Speaker, The minister has also indicated that major reforms are taking place in the energy sector. Indeed, the Energy Sector Levies Act is expected to yield 2.9 billion, but that is not enough. There is an effort to transition to gas usage so that we can drastically cut down on our energy expenditure. And that is my response to the entreaties of the minority leader that we must address the wastages in the energy sector. Mr. Speaker, when you listen to the media review, one team runs through the media review, and that is the theme of fiscal discipline. Fiscal discipline. Mr. Speaker, by 2023, our economy had gotten to a very critical point. Our debt to GDP ratio had peaked to 84%. Inflation had soared to 54%. Mr. Speaker, I could not believe it to hear that fiscal deficit shrank from 10.7% of GDP in 2022 to 1.1% of GDP in 2025. These are measures that could not have been achieved without painful fiscal discipline. I was also impressed to see that our debt to GDP had also declined from 84% to 43.8%. Mr. Speaker, clearly, I have heard my colleague and the NPP complain about lack of spending. Lack of spending. We are not spending. We are not spending. Mr. Speaker, it is true that we are not spending on wasteful expenditures. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, what is the value? What is the value to the state when you spend 280 million Ghana cedis building a structure that you are supposed to spend 81 million Ghana cedis building? What is the value to the state? So that you can boast that you were spending, and you spent 280 million Ghana cedis to build the Bank of Ghana headquarters when you were told that you could build the structure with 81 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, what is the value? What is the value of spending? What is the value of spending when you spend hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis to dig a hole in the name of building a cathedral for God? What is the value of spending? How can you commend yourselves for spending when you are spending monies digging holes and cathedrals were not emerging from those holes? Mr. Speaker, it is true that we may not be spending as much as you would want us to spend, but that is because we will not engage in wasteful spending. Mr. Speaker, I have heard the minority leader's response to the minister's accusation that the inadequacy in terms of revenue generation is as a result of smuggling. But that is the truth. There is excessive smuggling. And on this score, I will urge the security agencies to be up and doing to try and reduce the levels of smuggling that we inherited. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Finance has to be commended for the leadership that he has demonstrated in navigating our economy through turbulent global headwinds. I have heard the minority want to go back to Russia-Ukraine war. This morning, when I left my house, I was watching CNN. And even yesterday, Russia has sent some bombs into Ukraine and bombed some buildings. So the Russia-Ukraine war has not ended. And yet, the city has rebounded. Russia is still firing missiles into Ukraine. And yet, the Ghana city has become stronger. Russia is still firing missiles into Ukraine. And yet, the cost of fuel products in Ghana has reduced. Russia is still firing missiles into Ukraine. And yet, the price of maize has reduced. Russia is still firing missiles into Ukraine. And yet, the price of sugar has reduced. Russia is still firing missiles into Ukraine, and yet the price of rice has reduced. Can you explain to Ghanaians why for all these years you have heaped every misfortune of Ghana on poor Ukrainians and aggressive Russians, when today they can see that Russia is still firing Ukraine and yet their economy is getting better? Mr. Speaker, it is obvious that the NPP spend most of their tenure misleading Ghanaians and lying and attributing every misfortune to the Russians and the Ukrainian misfortunes. But it is obvious that Aban Papa has come and Ghanaians are seeing the difference, that their city has become stronger, the dollar has become weaker, the British pound has become weaker, the major foreign currencies have become weaker in relation to the Ghana cedis, and the Ghana cedis has appreciated in an unprecedented manner in recent history. Mr. Speaker, they have seen also that interest rates have reduced. I heard the minority leader saying that the NDC government is doing nothing about the private sector. Doing nothing about the private sector? How true is that? Do you really understand the private sector? Do you really understand the private sector? You are champions of the private sector. Mr. Speaker, the champions of the private sector drove interest rates to 40% to an extent that the private sector could not borrow from our banks. That is the champions of the private sector. Since assuming office, interest rates have reduced. Inflation has reduced. The cedi has become stronger. The dollar has reduced. These are the things that the private sector is looking for. When the private sector is able to go to the bank and there's liquidity in the banks and they can borrow at lower interest rates and expand their businesses, they prefer macroeconomic stability as against tax exemptions. The private sector prefers macroeconomic stability as against tax exemptions. So the era when every day we were inundated in this house with applications for tax exemptions instead of focusing on driving interest rates down, on reducing inflation, on reducing the exchange rates so that businesses can thrive and create jobs for the people, those days are long gone. Mr. Speaker, in 6 months, barely 7 months, the private sector is becoming the real engine of growth. The real engine of growth. I listened to the minority leader. He asked about jobs. He asks, where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? The jobs are occurring in the private sector. There's a lot of money in the banks chasing businesses. Just walk out and ask any banker. A lot of money in the banks chasing businesses. Do you know why? They are chasing businesses because government has stopped borrowing from the local banks. Indeed, I've just heard a colleague MP say that it's not just the private sector. Indeed, they are chasing MPs with loans. Mr. Speaker, so the economy is doing well. Growth has rebounded. Our fiscal deficit has reduced to 3.1% of GDP from 7.9 in 2024. Gross international reserves have increased to 11.12 billion US dollars, covering almost 5 months of imports. We have achieved a primary surplus for 2 consecutive quarters, $2.1 billion in Q1 2025, according to the Bank of Ghana. Debt to GDP ratio declined from 61.8% in December 2024 to 55% through active liability management. Ghana has been upgraded by the major credit ratings agencies. Fitch Ratings upgraded Ghana. Standards & Poor Global Ratings have also revised their ratings on Ghana, and Ghana is looking very good to the international financial institutions. Mr. Speaker, there may be some challenges with revenue mobilization, but even then, the story is very good. In the first quarter of 2025, I think that they were able to rake in over 5 billion Ghana cedis. Efforts are being made to modernize our revenue collection agencies, and we believe that very soon we will begin to see real progress in that sector. Mr. Speaker, we will spend, but we will spend wisely. We will be spending over 28.7 billion on capital expenditure. Over 28.7 billion. In the 2024 budget, the MPP spent only 28.7 billion. But in our 2025 budget, we have allocated 32.9 billion to capital expenditure. So we will spend. Mr. Speaker, we are spending on all the social intervention programs, and we have increased them. Senior high school, well taken care of. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, there is innovation in social intervention. Under the NPP government, who claim they are private sector oriented, they spend mostly on public sector institutions. But this year, we are spending on 60 private senior high schools. So we're not only spending on government senior high schools, but we're also spending on some private senior high schools. So we are including the private sector, even in spending on social intervention. We have increased the allocation to LEAP. We have increased the capitation grant. We have increased almost every social intervention program. Mr. Speaker, we are strategic in our direction. We are going to focus on agricultural transformation. Indeed, we are already beginning to see progress in the agricultural sector. In the media review, we are told that agriculture led in the growth figures of this half year. So clearly, we are making progress in the area of agriculture, and that is how we intend to drive down food inflation. Mr. Speaker, we are investing in the Development Bank, and the Development Bank has already announced a 500 million financial support program for the agricultural sector. Mr. Speaker, we're expanding the digital economy, and Mr. Speaker, our abolition of the obnoxious electronic levy has given confidence, and many more people are involved in electronic transactions. In April 2025 alone, mobile money transactions reached an all-time high of 351.7 billion Ghana cedis. Mobile money transactions in April alone reached an all-time high of 351.7 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, that is how much confidence Ghanaians now have, having abolished the electronic levy, and Ghanaians are using the electronic highway to transact their businesses. The number of transactions increased from 764 million transactions in March 2025 to 778 million transactions in April. That's just 1 month jump. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that the policy that we initiated and implemented in the abolition of the e-levy is indeed generating positive results. But Mr. Speaker, we are not yet out of the woods. We are not yet out of the woods. And so we will take constructive criticism. We need to continue the fiscal discipline. We need to spend, but spend in the right places. We need to fight corruption. We need to transform our governance. We need to create jobs for the youth. We need to invest more in agriculture. And I can see that when you read the new initiatives outlined by the Minister of Finance, these are the new focus areas. So we have launched the jobs for the youth. We have also launched and established the gold board, which is also having an impact in terms of the reduction in the dollar rate to the cedi. And all these interventions are generating positive results. But most importantly, Mr. Speaker, this NDC government is a government that has kept every promise that we have made to Ghanaians so far. Mr. Speaker, we promised to establish a lean government, and we have established a lean government. We have appointed only 60 ministers of state and deputy ministers of state, because that was what we promised Ghanaians. We have abolished the development authorities, except the Northern Development Authority, which originally was what was agreed upon until the whole area became flooded with all sorts of development authorities. Mr. Speaker, the fight against corruption continues relentlessly. And the Attorney General and Minister of Justice is going to prosecute all those who are involved in corruption under the MPP administration. And we will not be deterred. We will not be deterred. Corruption has to be fought, because if we do not fight corruption, all the gains that we are registering will be lost in no time. Mr. Speaker, the 24-hour economy, which is a key pillar in our economic strategy, will be rolled out very soon. And I have listened to the minority leader. He has provided some useful suggestions, and I can assure him that I have sat in cabinet, and many of the things that you have raised are indeed key considerations in implementing a 24-hour economy. You need an infrastructure base to support running an economy for 24 hours. Key among it is energy. So we are taking steps to boost our energy generation capacity in the country. We are taking steps to boost law enforcement capabilities so that people can work 24 hours without fear of crime and violence. Indeed, we are looking at the various possible economic nodes. So the northern sector will have a whole strategy that it will focus on. The Volta Basin will have a whole strategy that it will focus on. The coastal belt will have a whole strategy that it will focus on. The cities and the rural areas and the mining sectors. Every sector of our economy has some strategy that we are focusing on as part of the 24-hour economy strategy. Very soon, we will bring the Directorate of the 24-hour economy to come and give us further briefings of the details of the rolling out of that program. So let me assure you that the 24-hour economy will be implemented, and it is going to be a game changer. Mr. Speaker, our economy is turning around. We are recovering. Inflation has come down. The cedi has rebounded. The dollar has reduced in value in relation to the cedi. Fiscal discipline is being adhered to. We are fighting corruption strenuously, and we are retooling our public sector to make it more efficient, more effective, and also less wasteful of public resources. The Minister for Finance, Honorable Atuforsen, needs to be commended highly for his leadership. He needs to be commended highly for his discipline. He needs to be commended highly for his wisdom. Mr. Speaker, in the past, we were told of some economic wizards being paired with certain candidates so that they will perform economic miracles. When those wizards assumed office, all the children in the village were crucified. Mr. Speaker, the economy was brought to a standstill. It collapsed. Atuforsen is not a vice president. Atuforsen is just one of us, a colleague member of parliament that we elevated to the Ministry of Finance. And within 7 months, he has done things that have never been seen in the history of the financial management of this country. Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude on the note of Boku. Mr. Speaker, we are not running away from Boku. We, NDC government, we are not running away from Boku. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, for those of you who have chosen to have a very short memory, Boku was a very peaceful place. From 1984 till 2001, when Kufuor took over as president. That is it. Those are the facts. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, you don't know about Boku. Let me tell you about Boku. And you can go and check the records. If you want us to debate it, I can fix a date and we'll debate it and I'll give you the records. Mr. Speaker, the problem in Boku was caused under the NPP administration. Under the NPP administration. That is what happened. Once Akufo-Addo was president, he allowed somebody to be appointed as a rival chief in Boku, and that is the cause of the problem. And once Akufo-Addo was president, that rival chief was taken into Boku. That is the cause of the problem of Boku. And I am assuring you that President John Dramani Mahama will solve the Boku problem once and for all. Boku problem will be solved once and for all by John Dramani Mahama. We are not rushing. We don't want to be populist. We have confidence in the Asantehene and we leave the matter in his hands. And I can assure you that Boku will be solved. Mr. Speaker, on that note, let me thank our friends in the minority. Why am I thanking them? They stayed away from the presentation of the mid-year budget. But they have come to debate the mid-year budget. So I thank them. Let me thank the majority because we have been steadfast with the Minister of Finance, supported him, implemented all his policies, enacted all the legislation that has enabled the positive gains that we are seeing in the economy to inure to the benefit of ordinary Ghanaians. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I thank you very much.
Leader.
Honorable members, Honourable members, can we have some order? Honourable members, order. Honourable members, may I please ask whether the minister responsible for finance will want to conclude, make a concluding remark. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I know my brother, Honorable Afenyo Markin, the Osahin. There are times when Togbe, you know, there are times when Togbe will exercise his magnanimity and his sense of mercy in a way that surprises everybody. And I know that this is one of those times. This is one of those times when we will be able to prevail on the Osahini, the Togbe, to allow the Deputy Minister for Finance to conclude on Normally, when we have finished, the ministers are allowed to thank us for the messages, the arguments, the debates, the pieces of advice, and constructive criticisms that are embedded in this debate. And I believe that, given that the finance minister is unavoidably absent, my brother will allow the deputy minister, who is one of us, who is a friend of the Osahini, to conclude on behalf of the Minister for Finance. I make an application for him to be allowed to conclude on behalf of the Minister of Finance.
Leader.
Speaker, with respect, the leader of government business has made an application. Such applications are generally not opposed. But since he says that the deputy minister is going to thank us and also going to assure us that he will carry the sentiment of the House to government, I pray that this will be done. Mr. Speaker, our respected friend Ampim loves to debate. The past days that we started this debate, I didn't see him on the list. I know that he would be tempted. Mr. Speaker, I know that he will be tempted to debate, but yes, please. I know that he will be tempted to debate. Therefore, Honorable Deputy Minister, you know that we have a long way to go in this House. Don't breach trust. Don't breach trust. Don't throw any low blow. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I will yield to the prayer of the leader of the House. But please just be in your diplomatic best and within 2 minutes. Mr. Speaker, and just 2 minutes. Do the right thing so that in future when an application is made for you, we will not oppose. You know you have a business here. What actually brought you was this, your business. And we've also agreed to the other paper addendum. So anything negative you do may...
Honourable Minority Leader,
may affect.
I can assure you that the Deputy Finance Minister will not do anything negative.
Mr. Speaker, I just also want to say this to assure my back.
Yes.
That he will do the right thing.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Well. Before giving the floor to the Deputy Minister for Finance, let me acknowledge the presence of Project Abroad, led by Theophilus Etu Jonah, Regional Coordinator. They are from various countries: Germany, France, USA, UK, and Colombia. They are 15 in numbers. On behalf of the House, I welcome you. May you have a fruitful stay. Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister for Finance, you have the floor. Ampin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, my grandpa told me about patience and posterity. No. Under normal circumstances, this should be nothing. But you know, Mr. Speaker, you see, when I am even using the dispatch box, they would raise all manner of things, but it's okay, Mr. Speaker. The mood in this House is one of cooperation. I will not object to
Honorable MP, please get up at
it's fine.
your place
but
and then
colleagues,
address us. No,
you should
just
always
be there.
remember the evil you do to others would always come and haunt you. But I have no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on 24th of this month, the Minister for Finance, Dr. Kesil Atoforsen, was in this House on the authority of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama to present the mid-year review of the 2025 budget in line with Section 28 of the Public Financial Management Act. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, as has been the practice in this House, and in accordance with our standing orders, members have taken turns to express their opinions on the statement presented by my boss. Mr. Speaker, today I count myself the luckiest Deputy Minister in President Mahama's administration because Ato is the best minister any deputy can wish for. It seldom happens that a Minister for Finance will yield such an important podium to his deputy. Dr. Atoforsen, God bless you. Mr. Speaker, may I take this opportunity to thank honorable members for an engaging debate, some made in good faith and others with obvious mischief and misrepresentations. Since our colleagues on the other side were not present to listen to the Minister for Finance at first hand, we may forgive them for the misrepresentation since they may be speaking based on hearsay. However, Mr. Speaker, kindly permit me to correct some of the misrepresentations made by some colleague members. The Honorable Abna Osei Asari stated, and I quote, "If the cedi has appreciated against the US dollar, external interest payments should come down. It has rather increased by 1 billion cedis. Mr. Speaker, I want to state that this assertion is totally incorrect. In fact, Appendix 2C of the media statement indicated under external interest payment that out of the 3.97 billion In fact, Appendix 2C of the media statement indicated under external interest payment that out of the 3.97 billion cedis that was programmed to be paid within the first half of the year, 3.7 billion was actually paid, resulting in a savings
Honorable
of
Deputy
179.
Honorable Deputy Minister, hold it. Yes, Minority Leader. You two come and make.
Mr. Speaker, I want the Majority Leader to lend support to this. He is a lawyer. I take him by his word. It shouldn't be that somebody is being set up for embarrassment. The man has a prepared speech. I have no problem if we've not closed the debate. We've closed the debate. The application was that you were going to thank us. Colleagues, let's not do this to ourselves. Then when there's a reaction, it's as if somebody is being unreasonable. No, you cannot. Your leader has spoken for 45 minutes. If you had rebuttals, your duty was to give it to him to rebut. You cannot seize this opportunity to say that you are coming to re-argue. No, let's not go there. No, let's not go there. Mr. Speaker, that was not the understanding. That was not the understanding. That was not the understanding. No, no. Mr. Speaker, no, 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 no. That was not the understanding. You said he is thanking and taking the concerns on board. Please, don't use, you have about 4 pages. You are now going to re-argue again. No, Mr. Speaker, it's not fair. That was not the understanding. If you are thanking us as courtesy demand, do so. And majority leader, please intervene and get this resolved so that we don't get matters degenerating.
You have made your point. Oh. Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, you know, historically, anytime that we have finished debating, the finance minister concludes, he thanks us, but this is a house of record. This is a house of record. So if the finance minister, hearing the debates, thinks that there is a factual inaccuracy, and he uses an opportunity to thank us, to correct it, there's nothing wrong with that. Because I heard him say that there were some claims made during the debate, and he's now going to correct it. So for the records, he wants to place things in proper perspective. This is the amount that was given, this is the amount that was paid, and this is the amount that was saved. I thought that was what I heard him say. So he's just correcting some records. Otherwise, in our debate, we would have misinformed the public. If he begins to say something that is contentious, you can raise an objection. But if he's just correcting the records, I think that we should allow him to correct the records.
Honourable members.
Because he's the one keeping the records.
Honourable members, we've all been in this house for some time. When debates are concluded by the leaders, opportunity is given to the minister who presents the budget to comment. We don't give condition based on which the minister is supposed to make the concluding comment. Honourable members, there are senior members in this house. They know the practice. The minister is not here. The deputy minister is stepping into the shoes of the minister. So we cannot prevent the minister from making concluding comments. He brought the budget that has been debated. So at the end of the debate, it is fair when we take comments from the minister. Honorable Deputy Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I got to the point where I was reacting to a statement made by my good friend, Honorable Abna Osei-Asare. And I quote, "If the cedi has appreciated against the US dollar, external interest payments should come down. It has rather increased by 1 billion Ghana cedis," unquote. Mr. Speaker, I want to state that this assertion is totally incorrect. In fact, Appendix 2C of the mid-year budget statement indicated under external interest payments that out of the 3.97 billion Ghana cedis that was programmed to be paid within the first half of the year, 3.7 billion was actually paid, resulting in a savings of 179 million Ghana cedis as a result of the cedi appreciation. This savings can build about 206 unit classroom blocks across the country, including Etiwa. Paragraph 248 of the mid-year statement stated clearly that external interest payments have been revised upward by 795 million cedis and not 1 billion to make provision for additional debt service due on post-cut-off date disbursements on bilateral loans that the previous administration made in 2023. Honorable Abna Osei-Asare again said, "There has been no real impact beyond the numbers in the mid-year review. Ghanaians don't live in the mid-year, they live in the economy. The mid-year was full of technical jargons," unquote. Mr. Speaker, if there has been any budget presentation that has been made simple for the ordinary Ghanaian to understand, it is the one presented by Dr. Kesil Atoforsen. Honorable Abna, do you really believe that the improvement in the economy in the past 6 months has had no impact on the lives of Ghanaians? Let me remind my colleagues that within these 6 months, importers will testify that import duties have drastically reduced. The real income of households, which was eroded by an inflation of 23.8%, have seen a significant improvement with a reduction of inflation to 13.7%. Assembly members in Etiwa East are 1,300 Ghana cedis richer every month. All LEAP beneficiaries are receiving more than they used to, and promptly. And price of petrol has reduced from an average of 14 cedis 72 pesos per litre to 12 cedis 23 pesos per litre. Mr. Speaker, these and many more are the real occurrences in the economy that Ghanaian people can feel. And Mr. Speaker, one of the renowned pollsters in Ghana today, the Global Info Analytics, have been conducting periodic surveys. And they did one on standard of living. And Mr. Speaker, last year, 2024, around July 2024, their survey indicated that standard of living, 47% of Ghanaians said that their standard of living had worsened. Mr. Speaker, fast forward. This year, the same question was posed. In July 2025, guess what? Only 12% of Ghanaians said that their standard of living had worsened. 59% of Ghanaians say that their standard of living has improved. But Mr. Speaker, the same time last year, only 21% of Ghanaians believe that their standard of living has improved. And Mr. Speaker, the story is even more interesting when you record standard of living improvement optimism. 1 year ago, their research revealed that when Global Info Analytics, they revealed that 20% of respondents said that there was no improvement in their standard of living. But Mr. Speaker, the interesting part is that today 72% of Ghanaians say that they are highly optimistic that their standard of living will improve, against 20% who thought that their standard of living will improve. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Mohammed Amin Adam, the immediate past finance minister, suggested that Dr. Atto-Forson cannot take credit for the reduction in the debt to GDP ratio because he, Amin Adam, negotiated the cancellation of over $5 billion of Ghana's debt. Mr. Speaker, I want to state emphatically that the reduction in Ghana's public debt from 726.7 billion cedis in December 2024 to 613 billion cedis as at the end of June 2025 has nothing to do with any purported debt cancellation. Ghana has not benefited from any debt cancellation in the past 6 months, the 6 months period that we are reviewing. The over 113 billion Ghana cedis reduction is as a result of the cedi's appreciation against the US dollar, something that seemed impossible under their tenure. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Gideon Boako, an advisor to the former Vice President, provided some wrong debt figures in his submission to suggest that the negative 15.6% debt accumulation is not novel. He misled this House by stating that the November 2022 public debt stock was 382.7 billion. Mr. Speaker, for the record, the Bank of Ghana's Summary of Economic and Financial Data published in May 2023, and it was published by Governor Addison, shows that the debt stock as at November 2022 was 575.7 billion and not the 382.7 billion quoted by the honorable member. The Minister for Finance stated, and I want to reiterate, that the negative debt accumulation recorded within the first half of this year has never happened in the history of our dear nation. Mr. Speaker, unlike his immediate predecessors, the Minister for Finance did not blame the performance of the economy on any external factor in the entire 1.5 hours of presentation. In fact, the Russia-Ukraine war is still ongoing. There are even more negative external factors like the war in the Middle East and tariff wars. But still, in spite of all these, we have performed. Mr. Speaker, we all recall how a certain driver's mate took control of the economy and recklessly drove it into a ditch so deep that what we inherited was nothing short of an economic crisis marked by deep debt distress and mounting debt service harms. A country with dispirited citizens. In the midst of all this, the public Mr. Speaker, we all recall how a certain driver's mate took control of the economy and recklessly drove it into a ditch so deep that what we inherited was nothing short of an economic crisis marked by deep debt distress and mounting debt service harms, a country with dispirited citizens, rising cost of living for an ordinary Ghanaian, collapsing confidence in our public finances, Trust and faith in our leaders were at an all-time low. The fundamentals were not only weak but broken. The misery and suffering were palpable. And in the midst of all this, the public purse was subjected to massive abuse. And in the words of the Catholic Bishops' Conference, massive uncontrolled corruption was the order of the day. Mr. Speaker, let me re-emphasize that the last 205 days of our stewardship under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama have been marked by consistent and sustained macroeconomic stability. Mr. Speaker, these gains are not episodic. They are the fruits of a carefully crafted and boldly implemented sound economic policies anchored on discipline, vision, and a deep sense of responsibility to the Ghanaian people. Mr. Speaker, this marks the end of an era of empty political sloganeering. We remain unwavering in our commitment to deliver stable prices and decent jobs for our fellow countrymen and women. The signs are clear. We are indeed building back better, brick by brick, step by step, and little by little. Mr. Speaker, let our friends on the other side who have just walked out take note that recovery is not by press conferences. It is not by walkouts. It is not found in recycled rhetoric or speculative pessimism. It is earned through policy, perseverance, and performance. I said, let our friends who just walked out realize that recovery is not by press conferences. It is not by consistently walking out of Parliament. It is not found in recycled rhetorics or speculative pessimism. It is earned through policy, perseverance, and performance. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is rising again. The foundation is being rebuilt. The confidence is returning, and the momentum of our recovery is becoming stronger. Mr. Speaker, our economic model is delivering results because it is being championed with vision and dedication by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. In paragraph 537 of the media budget statement, the Minister for Finance gave a tall list of payments we have made. Let me take few of them to demonstrate that this is a marked improvement over what we have seen in the past. DACF, from January to June 2024, DACF had been paid 2.3 billion. But from January to June this year, we have paid DACF 2.9 billion. Get Fund received only 1.2 billion between January and June 2024. But the same period, January and June to June 2025, we have paid Get Fund 4.6 billion Ghana cedis. NHIS was paid 1.8 billion between January and June 2024. Between January and June this year, we have paid NHIS 4.6 billion cedis. SNIT, transfer to SNIT for the first 6 months of 2024 was only 1 billion cedis. The first half of 2025, we have transferred 2.7 billion cedis to SNIT. In fact, on 24th, the day that the finance minister was presenting the media budget review, we transferred another 300 million cedis to SNIT, making it 3 billion cedis. Mr. Speaker, as at the end of December 2024, transfers to SNIT was in arrears of more than 2.2 billion cedis. But this year, no arrears have been accumulated. We are up to date, and we will continue to be up to date until the end of the year. Teachers and nursing training allowances have been paid in full as of June 2025, and from this month are receiving their allowances on monthly basis. As I speak now, the July 2025 allowances have been paid. Mr. Speaker, a good government always takes steps to protect the vulnerable in society. So President Mahama has increased leave and has paid promptly. He has increased school feeding and has paid promptly. He has increased capitation grant and paid promptly. Mr. Speaker, another significant improvement in the budget implementation this year is in the area of releases to MMDAs. And look at this. Secondary Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly, first quarter 2024, was paid DACF 700,686 Ghana cedis. Second quarter, they were sent another 700,686 Ghana cedis. Third quarter, the same amount, 700,686 Ghana cedis. In the whole of 2024, they received 3 transfers. The total was 2.1 million Ghana cedis. But guess what? In 2025, first quarter alone, Secondary Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly has received 3.1 million Ghana cedis. That is 1 million cedis more than the total amount received in the whole of 2024. And guess what? Second quarter, Secondary Takoradi Metro Assembly is receiving 5.8 million Ghana cedis. So if you put the first 2 quarters, the first half of the year, Secondary Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly alone is getting 9 million Ghana cedis compared to 2.1 million cedis for the whole of 2024. In fact, I'm sad the minority leader has walked out. The next assembly I'm taking is a Futu Municipal Assembly. I know you are listening from your office. The good people of Futu, first quarter 2024, the government of the MPP transferred only 478,712 Ghana cedis to a Futu Municipal Assembly. The same amount was transferred in the second quarter, and in the third quarter, the same 478,712 Ghana cedis. The irony of it, we know that transfers to common fund is a function of revenue. How surprising and how convenient is it that the same amount goes to the assembly each quarter? It shows that they were cooking figures. The total amount received by a Futu Municipal Assembly for the whole of 2024 was 1.4 million cedis. But first quarter 2025, we have sent a Futu Municipal Assembly 2.9 million cedis. The second quarter, a Futu Municipal Assembly is receiving 5.3 million cedis. The 2 quarters put together, 8.3 million cedis for a Futu alone. Winneba, a Futu. In fact, the next assembly I wanted to talk about is Karaga, the assembly of the immediate past finance minister, Honorable Mohamed Amin Adam. As finance minister, he supervised the transfer of a meager amount of 414,419 cedis for the first quarter, the same for the second quarter, and the same for the third quarter 2024. The total amount received by Karaga District Assembly in the former finance minister's district was 1.2 million cedis. Dr. Atoforsen, through DACF, has sent 2.2 million cedis to Karaga in the first quarter of 2025 alone. Second quarter amount to Karaga is 4,070,000 cedis. Mr. Speaker, President Mahama is determined to deepen fiscal decentralization and spur development at the local level. This is a sharp departure from the retrogressive re-centralization of resources witnessed under the previous regime. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Finance, in his conclusion to the mid-year review statement, made a profound statement that Aban Papa Abba, Indeed, the signs of economic progress are visible and measurable. First quarter economic growth is at a 5-year high because Aban Papa. The Consumer Confidence Index rose from 87.7 in April 2024 to 103.6 in April 2025 because Aban Papa. Business Confidence Index of 105.5 compared to 88.8 last year because Aban Papa. Inflation has declined from 23.8% in December 2024 to 13.7% in June 2025 because Aban Papa. Prices of a good government is here. Prices of sugar, rice, and cooking oil at a 4-year low because Aban Papa. We injected 2 billion Ghana cedis into National Investment Bank, securing hundreds of jobs and protecting depositor funds because Aban Papa. By lowering Treasury bill rate and strengthening the cedi, we've saved over 5.1 billion Ghana cedis in interest payments because Aban Papa. Public debt has reduced by over 113 billion in just 6 months because Aban Papa. Debt to GDP has reduced from 61.8% in December 2024 to 43.8% in June 2025 because Aban Papa. The Ghanaian cedi has appreciated by a whopping 42.6% against the US dollar because Aban Papa. Ghana's credit rating has improved from junk status to B- with a stable outlook because Aban Papa. The 91-day Treasury bill rate has declined from 27.7% per annum in December 2024 to 10.84% per annum in July 2025 because Aban Papa. Ghana's gross international reserves have risen from $8.98 billion to $11.12 billion US dollars, now covering 4.8 months of imports because Aban Papa. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians are now happy because Aban Papa. In fact, Aban Boneko and Aban Papa Abba. Thank you, and may God bless us all.
Honourable members, indeed, on Thursday, 24th July 2025, the Honourable Minister for Finance, Dr. Kesiel Ato Banforson, moved the motion numbered 8 on today's order paper. The motion was seconded by Honorable Richard Achampong. The motion has been debated, and at the conclusion of the debate for the budget statement and economic policy of the government of Ghana for the year 2025. The question, therefore, is, as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted. Honourable members, let's turn to order paper addendum at commencement of public business presentation of papers. Yes. Minister responsible for finance.
Mr. Speaker, the minister is not in the chamber, but with your indulgence, if we can allow the Deputy Minister for Finance.
Deputy Minister for Finance.
Yeah,
you may
to
lay
lay
the paper
on
on
behalf
the
of
other
the
paper addendum.
Exemptions Regulations 2025.
Honourable members, the Exemption Regulations 2025 is duly presented and it is referred to the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation for consideration and reports. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we're not yet 5 hours, so we're in your hands.
No, we have not done 5 hours.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I move that. What time should we? Tomorrow, what time? 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House adjourns to tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
Honourable members, the motion move for adjournment. Any seconder?
I second the motion.
Honourable members, motion move for adjournment and seconded, and it is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, the question is as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned till Friday, the 1st day of August 2025 at 10 a.m.